Hi, it's Eddie Berman from Sound Pure. Hope you guys are doing well today. Thought we'd talk a little bit about slide playing and some different small adjustments maybe to your technique that'll make it a little easier for you to get the job done. One of the big things obviously with slide playing is learning how to mute with both hands. A lot of people automatically drag their fingers behind the slide. My first two fingers are muting back there. You will see guys play with an open hand approach too. I think a lot of that is developing from their vibrato. But the left hand is important, but the right hand muting is really kind of the big key to it. If you will say we're picking with our index finger on the G string, so what I'm doing, I'm picking with my first finger, my thumb is laying across the D through the low E, and either my middle or ring finger is actually muting the E and B strings here. So what we're trying to do is make it so only that one string will ring. And if you notice, when I change to a lower string, my whole hand moves kind of as a unit. It's not just, I'm not just still kind of muting these guys over here when I move over. My right hand is moving with me to cut down on the noise. If I were to try and play that, you can hear a lot more noise there without muting now. It's a little bit cleaner that way. Obviously with slide playing, the intonation, you want to be as close to over top of the fret as you can for the note to ring in tune. Some people play flat, some people play sharp, and those are done on purpose. You know, you can certainly create some tension rather than just going, we could. So lots of things that can be done that way technique-wise, but generally a good idea to try and play as in tune as you possibly can. One really, really good exercise I learned from a Guitar Player Magazine interview with Ry Cooder probably, I don't know, 30 years ago, maybe somewhere in there, would be to play just a scale on one string in thirds string. And that gets us our hand used to moving. If we apply too much pressure, we're going to get rattle. It's going to take a little bit of doing to get the learn the muscle memory on how far to move when you're moving from one note to the next. But that will in turn allow you to play in maybe some different patterns that you wouldn't do normally. And that brings up kind of a good point. A lot of times, I think folks think that maybe they need to learn a slide vocabulary, which is fine. There's tons of great stuff, whether it's Dwayne Allman or Elmore James or you name it, Ry Cooder. But also you can play whatever you would normally play with finger style. You can use all that stuff with slide playing too. From doing that, like if we were going to play, say we were going to play E, G, A, and B. Now I have the E strings are tuned down to a step, so that's why that looked a little funny, but E, G, A, and D. B it should have been, I'm sorry. So if we go, has a whole different sound to it. So that might be something I would play normally, but I played it with the slide. Also, you probably noticed I played the E note with the slide, I played the G with my first finger. When I went to play the A, I actually hammered on. So I'm using the bar, the slide, to hammer down on the string. And then I'm hammering with my first finger on the B note. So that gives us a little bit different vocabulary there as far as, whatever you would normally play when you pick up the guitar, just try and play it with the slide. Also, while we're thinking about it, as far as the, if you're using the one guitar to do this that you play normally for your normal finger stuff, you probably have lower action. If you're going to play with a lower action, you need a lighter weight slide, because if you have something that's too heavy, it's going to cause the strings to push down and make all kinds of racket on the frets, which will drive you crazy when trying to get the stuff done. Lighter touch and lighter weight slide. So I'm barely touching the strings with the slide at that point. If I get too aggressive, didn't get too much noise that way, but you can if you press down too hard. And the louder the band gets, the more your adrenaline goes up, the harder you want to press down. You have to try and fight against that. If you're lucky enough to have a second guitar that you just play slide on, then certainly raising the action up and using a heavier slide will give you a bigger, musical footprint. But it's not something you have to do. You can play with something lighter, and the key is try to be as clean as you can. Try and play as in tune as you can, and that's good. Like we said, it's very important to be able to keep the noises under control. We could do something as simple as, like if we're in, say we're in E, the D major. To play A, I have several options. I can play the A, E, A octave here, or if I wanted to add the third to the chord, I just made an A chord by fretting behind the slide. E, so I made a 3-chord chord change there, but the A chord, my last chord, rather than having to come all the way down here and play A here, I made the A chord by fretting behind the slide here. I have A on the D string, E on the A string, and C sharp on the G string. If you had to play suspended, then if you're using the slide on your third finger, you can actually reach over and add the G there and make that a 7 chord. So that's a little something different. You wouldn't think of playing in front of the slide that way, but it can certainly be fun. But the key there again is just kind of look and see what's available to you even with this thing on your hand, and I think you'll be surprised at what you can come up with. Hope this is helpful. You have a great day. It's nice spending time with you.